Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network. It's great to be with you today. Today is our weekly question and answer video. Now, you need to know that I get a lot of emails, and so I do some on the video and some in my writing in my article. If you make sure you read the article, watch the video, you're going to certainly want to, read the questions, because a lot of times it's what people are asking that maybe you're not comfortable emailing and asking, or whatever may be the case. And then in addition, in the written article, of course, I do the Hondo hate. And in fairness, someone said to me, man, I can't believe how much hate you get. I really don't. It's not a lot. I mean, there are some weeks we don't have any hate. Some weeks there may be 3 or 4, depending on a subject I covered. If I write anything about Derek Carr, there's going to be 10 or 12 pieces of hate. Either people that write me and think I hate him, or write me and think I'm a Carr apologist. I find that to be pretty funny. It's why I don't really talk much about Derek, because he's not here anymore. Although today in this video, I'm going to address a Derek Carr question, but because it has to do with the present Raiders. So I've got 7 questions here today I'm going to answer for you guys. So let's dig in. I just want to remind you, appreciate y'all being a part of this. We are growing exponentially, and it's really a credit to Raider Nation. It's certainly not a credit to me. It's a credit to you guys. And every day we're adding a ton new members. We're getting a lot of emails from first-time emailers. I really appreciate all of that. It's great to hear from you. In our podcast, I just want to make it really clear. We're not going to drop F-bombs. And the reason I say that is some people accuse me of editing your videos. Well, if you're going to send me questions and you're going to use F-bombs, then don't send me questions. That's just not how we do things on this podcast. It's not how we'll ever do it. At the same time, I'm not going to insult you. If you ask a question, don't be afraid to ask it. In fact, I get 3 or 4 questions a week where people say, please don't, answer this in writing or on video or in your podcast, because I don't want people to think I'm stupid. Well, that's ridiculous. Now, you can tell when somebody's asking a question to be stupid, and you just ignore it and let it go. But we're not going to do that with you. And I guess evidently in the videos right here, people have been teasing me and making fun of me being bald. I've not seen it. But my wife was telling me about it. She got a pretty good laugh out of it. I promise I'm not bald. In fact, she wishes I'd grow my hair more, because I can at 52, but I like it high and tight. I just like, especially living out here in the desert where it's so hot year round. It's nice. So not going bald, but I appreciate it. My wife got a big kick out of your email. So your comments. So thank you for that. So let's dig right into today. And I want to get into the first one. It comes to us from Rob. And Rob asked me if I would go into a little bit more detail on Hunter Renfrow in the situation. And Rob's a new listener and reader. So Rob, I will. Let me just say this. I reported months ago, I believe I was the first, because I don't know of anyone else that did it. In fact, when I heard from, let's just say when I heard from people, I was told it was the first out there. It doesn't matter if I was or wasn't. I'm not trying to take anybody's credit if somebody had it before me, but I reported it as soon as I got it months ago, that I was hearing teams were interested in getting Hunter Renfrow. Then I came out and reported that the Raiders were not shopping him. They didn't want to get rid of him. I want to make that clear, because I've seen a lot of criticism. Oh, Josh McDaniels, this and that, and let me just say something to you. Raider Nation has some of the most amazing fans in the world. You guys are amazing. I've got to tell you, I covered the Big Ten for 2 decades. The only thing that would have gotten me out here to Vegas to cover, to leave, was, to come out here and to cover this team. You guys are great fans. You're like St. Louis Cardinals baseball fans. You guys know the game. You're smart. If you don't like Josh McDaniels, that's fine, but you don't have to resort to calling him. Some of the names are just filthy. It's just ridiculous. It's not necessary. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying I think it hurts sometimes your credibility. I won't even read them. Just get rid of them. If you want to get on there and say, listen, I don't like Josh McDaniels, this or that, I don't have a problem with that. I'll read those all day long. But when you just go out and start besmirching people's character, You don't get his Super Bowl rings because you don't know how to coach. Now, the jury is still out on him as a head coach. That's totally fair. But, he's terrible. He doesn't know anything. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to say the man has made tens of millions of dollars coaching in the NFL, has a bunch of Super Bowl rings. To say he doesn't know anything, I'm sorry. That just, to me, you don't have to go there. You're smarter than that. So if you want to say, listen, I think this was a dumb move. I don't like this. Great. But to go out and just besmirch people doesn't make sense. And so people were attacking Josh McDaniels when I first reported it. What of this, what of that, trying to dismantle the team. I want to make it clear the Raiders weren't shopping him and didn't want him to go. Okay. And I made that clear. And, but continued to hear from people close to it. And I have not said any trade is imminent. I have not said it's a done deal, but I have said numerous times for several months. After June 1st, I expect them to trade Hunter Renfrow. Now, Rob, who emailed me, who asked me for the information on Hunter, said now he's reading almost everybody else who covers the team talking about it, hearing it on the radio and television. And that's great. But the reason they're waiting till after June 1st, or the reason that they would wait, let's just be there. I'm not like they're waiting with an imminent deal, is because of the cap ramifications. So that's where we stand with Hunter. Now, Rob, I'm not going to get into why I think this is coming. First of all, because it hasn't happened yet. And when it does, I will go into it. It's not going to be a long story like the Derek Carr divorce, but it is certainly going to be one worth explanation, and I will give that to all of you when it happens, if that happens, and it's consummated. So that's where we stand with Hunter Renfrow, and I'm glad that others are reporting it now because it's accurate information. And good. Next comes to us from Melissa. Melissa says, Hondo, I was watching a recent podcast with Mike Mayock. And to be honest, you came on the scene several years ago and instantly talking about the Raiders didn't want to trade Derek Carr. And you were right, they didn't. And so I've just started over these last few years really listening to you, not only what you say, but how you say it. I remember you saying multiple times that Mark Davis was not broke now that he was in Las Vegas. And I thought it was very telling that Mike Mayock, in a recent interview with Howie Long's son, said that once they got to Las Vegas, money was not an issue. Good call on that. Can you give some more detail, Melissa? Yeah, I can, Melissa. When they were in Oakland, it was a terrible stadium deal for the Raiders. And it was not a place where a lot of people wanted to go. The tickets were not expensive. Now, I'm not hating on Oakland. I've been to games at Oakland. I thought it was fun. I thought it was like old Tiger Stadium, old Wrigley Field. In baseball, those are two examples. The old Boston Garden in Boston, where the Celtics play, the old one. I thought it was a nostalgic place. I really enjoyed it. But Oakland was a place that a lot of people there wasn't a lot outside of football to do. And so it was hard to get, without a good stadium deal, it was a terrible deal. And without all of the benefits of a city that would draw people, it just was not a revenue source. And you got to understand, there are some owners. I'll give you an example. Matt Ishbia, who owns the Phoenix Suns, a friend of mine, a Spartan, great guy. Matt is extremely wealthy outside of the Phoenix Suns. So he will bring massive cash to the team that if they want to do something. So there are sometimes you can give players a big signing bonus and then prolate it over several years to help with the salary cap. But if you don't have the ability to stroke them a check, then you got to put it all on each year. The Lions, when Matt Millen was general manager, I reported extensively, they were a team that didn't have a lot of cash either. So anyways, it doesn't mean that they're not broke. It just means they're not playing with the same capital reserves that other teams and other owners. And so once they moved to Vegas, cash has never been an issue whatsoever with the Raiders. The Raiders have the cash to do what they want to do. You go look back and look at Devontae's deal. They gave Devontae a bunch of cash. So this is a team that's got the cash, and I'm glad that you saw that, Melissa, and I'm glad that Mike talked about that publicly. I don't think it was fair to Mark Davis. A lot of people taking shots, and a lot of people, I mean, just ignorantly. It's like going back to, you know, to Josh McDaniels, and I'm not trying to defend him. His head coaching record is what it is. He owns it. This year is going to make a huge impact on how people perceive Josh. But guess what? Josh is a tremendous husband. He's a great wife. So when you call him a terrible person or a bad this or that, and it's not accurate, it's just not fair. And so again, you want to attack him, his coaching. I don't even think Josh would have an issue with that. And I know him pretty well, and I don't think that would even bother Josh. I think he knows exactly. I mean, he's owned in Denver, he was a complete failure, and it was all his fault. 100%. He owns Denver. I don't think he's the same guy here that he was in Denver. But again, it goes back to people, oh, Mark's broke, he's too cheap, yada, yada, yada. And none of that's true. And I'm glad, Melissa, that Mike said that, and I'm glad you got to see it. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for watching. Next one comes to us. Hondo, if you had to pick today way too early, who do you think the Raiders' first-round draft pick is in 2024? And that comes to us from Kyle B. Kyle B. Kyle, first of all, we don't know where they're going to stand. We don't know where they're going to finish. I predicted 9 wins if Jimmy stays healthy for all 17 games, 7 if he doesn't. So let's just go and say that they're middle of the pack. I'm going to give you a name right now that I know the Raiders really like a lot. There's a few guys. Now, we all know Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 player. This guy's the best since Andrew Luck. And I even have had a couple people tell me they think with 1 more year, he may even be better than Andrew Luck. Could be like a Peyton Manning type of player, an Eli type of guy. So, we know, again, different styles. Anytime you compare, everyone comes in, no, they're not. Okay, I know they're not the same, but I'm saying that much hype. We know Drake May. We know Marvin Harrison may be the best wide receiver to come out since Calvin Johnson. Maybe that good, definitely maybe the best since Davante Adams. Now, the reason I didn't say Davante first is Davante didn't have the hype that Calvin did coming out, or Marvin Harrison. And I think that Calvin Johnson, I think Davante is the best in the league right now. By the way, if you didn't catch my podcast with former 11th overall, number 1 pick of the Vikings, Trey Waynes, great friend of mine, great cornerback, made a lot of money in this league playing football, and he's a good one. He competed against Davante all the time, and he had some great things to say about Davante. I encourage you to go watch that. But let's assume they're in the middle. I'm going to tell you a guy I know that they really like. I know he's a guy who's a superstar, a guy who's a game changer. And that guy is Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. So you can write it down. Hondo says they're going to take Brock Bowers. There's a long time to go. But if I had to guess today, based on where I think they're going to finish and where I think that's going to put them in the drafting, I think that they would grab Brock Bowers, the tight end of Georgia. Let me tell you, him and Michael Mayer together, and then you keep an Austin Hooper if he has the kind of year I think he's going to have. Man, that sets the Raiders up. And again, I know this drives Raider Nation crazy, and I'm not trying to disrespect you, but it reminds me back to when the Patriots had all those tight end weapons and then all those wide receiver weapons. Pretty interesting times. But if I had to say right now, based on where I think they're going to finish with 9 wins, because I don't predict injuries, I think it's Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. Next one comes to me, and a gentleman by the name of Matt D emails and said, Hondo, you're so proud of being a Spartan. I was stunned to see you wearing a blue and gold Michigan shirt on one of your recent podcasts. That was not a blue and gold Michigan shirt. You will never catch me wearing a Michigan shirt. It was an Indiana Pacers shirt because I have a friend who works for the Pacers, and it was part of my Christmas gift. Not a Michigan shirt. Oh my gosh. When I saw that email, I was like, what? Sorry, I'll be more careful. This is not a Michigan pink shirt here, okay? So there you go. Next, Hondo, this was fascinating to me. Who do you think is the greatest Raider of all time? Man, I thought that was a great one. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, Matt Millen is a dear friend of mine. I love Matt. Him and I are very close. Um, I love him dearly. He's not only a friend, he's my Christian brother. And I really grew up loving, not loving, but certainly admiring the Raiders because they were on Monday Night Football every night. My friendship with Matt certainly expanded that. I met Al Davis through Matt. But I couldn't say Matt. I certainly think you can look at a lot of great players. I think Kenny Stabler is a great Raider. You know, I think Ted Hendricks is a great Raider. Art Shell, great Raider. Gene Upshaw, great. I mean, there are so many great Raiders. There's a ton. I mean, let's just be honest. You're hard pressed to find a team that's got more great players than the Raiders. But I'm going to give you one. And I think he's not only the greatest Raider of all time. I don't think it's close. And it's Jim Otto. I think the way he transformed the game, his toughness, the way he represented the team, I just think he is gold, just gold. I think if you go back on my Las Vegas Raiders Insider podcast channel on YouTube, you can Google it on our Sports Illustrated Fan Nation Raiders Today page. I did a interview with Jim Otto and have the audio up. Man, I really encourage you to listen to that. I just respect Mr. Otto immensely. In fact, after the interview, I took a lot of criticism from media. You know, you're supposed to be a media member, and why would you call him Mister? Well, first of all, he's a lot older than me. He's my elder, number one. And number two, my hero is my dad. And my dad loved Jim Otto. And I just think Jim Otto is the embodiment of everything you want in a player. Now, again, there are so many great ones that I've heard arguments for a bunch of others and thought very convincing argument. Maybe I'm biased because my father had such admiration for him. Maybe I'm biased because of the times I've talked to him personally, just his character. I admit all of that. And so that's why I'm saying there are other compelling arguments. It doesn't mean others weren't great. I just think he was the greatest. Now, I'm saying that because I'm assuming the question meant players on the field. So again, if you're not talking players on the field, there's no argument. It's Al Davis. But if we're talking players on the field, it's got to be Jim Otto. The next one comes to us, and I thought this one was really interesting. This comes from Christine. Says, how much better do you really feel the Raiders got this offseason? I'm seeing a lot of people saying they didn't get better at all. They got worse. That's from Christine. And she wants me to mention she's from Sacramento. Okay, Christine from Sacramento. I want to address this for a minute. Let's assume that Hunter Renfrow isn't here when the season starts. If he is, great for the Raiders. I mean, he's a great wide receiver. I don't want him to go. I'm not wishing him ill. He's a great guy and he's a great player. But he's had multiple injuries, and I'll just leave it there. But let's assume for the sake of this argument that Hunter's not there, okay? They bring in Jacoby Myers. That's a huge get. Jacoby Myers is a stud. Then you go get DeAndre Carter, Philip Dorsett. You add Trey Tucker. I mean, so you got Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, DeAndre Carter, Philip Dorsett. I mean, y'all look. You got a Trey Waynes. I mean, not Trey Waynes. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Trey Waynes, my buddy, because I just talked about. You got a Trey Tucker, and there's others. There's others. So you got Devontae, Jacoby, DeAndre, Carter. Man, I know I'm leaving one of them out, so forgive me. Philip Dorsett, Trey Tucker. You got a bunch of great guys. So I think your wide receiver group is already better. I hear a lot of talk about last year's tight end. Well, we got rid of Darren Waller. Okay, but he wasn't available. The best ability is availability, and he's not available. Do I like Darren? Heck yes, I do. Nice guy. I have always gotten along good with him. I've got nothing but respect for Darren Waller, the person. His parents, I love his parents, great family. This has nothing to do with Darren's character, but you're not running. It's not about who looks good on Madden on your Xbox or your PlayStation, whatever it is that they're playing with today. I think that they're using PlayStation, so forgive me. Yeah, they are, because that's what my son has, my oldest. Uh, by the way, he's not my oldest, but he's my, because we just got Dexter, but my son graduates this week, and I love you, son. I'm proud of you, and I just want you to know, man, you make fatherhood awesome, and I love you. I love your heart for your family. I love your heart for the Lord, and I just love you, and I want you to know I'm proud of you. Anyways, so it is PlayStation that they play on. Just because a player's good on PlayStation, if he's not available for those 17 games, it doesn't make him great. And so you add a Michael Mayer, who is a rookie, with a rookie, you never know. But he has all the signs of greatness. So would I rather take a rookie with all the signs of greatness over a guy who's unavailable? Okay, so let's just say this. I think he's clearly an upgrade over Foster Moreau, who would make big plays and then make plays that just destroyed the team. I mean, bad drops, dumb penalty. So, okay, then you add Austin Hooper, who I think is one of the most underrated tight ends. I think that guy's going to have a big year, and I think he'll get a contract coming back for 20, probably come back and get a contract for 24 and 25. OJ Howard is a guy that has all of the abilities. This guy should be an all pro. He has all of the things that God gives you that you just can't teach. Add to it, he is a hard worker. He's just had some bad injuries. He's not lazy at all. OJ Howard, don't say that. That guy's a hard worker and he's a high character guy. If he can stay healthy, I think there's an upgrade there. All right, go to the defensive line. Greg Van Roten comes in. I mean, this guy was a great pickup from the Bills. I don't know where yet he's going to place, but then you add McClendon Curtis. I think he was really good. You add a Greg Van Roten that comes in. I think that was a really good move. I think the Raiders did some stuff. Brandon Parker's going to be healthy. And oh my God, I have never read the article, my question and answer article this week. Oh my word. I got so much junk from people by me saying that Brandon Parker played well at times before he got injured. That's true. But he's healthy now. And again, I think the offensive line is better. I do believe that. Then you go to, what they have at running back and fullback. So then you flip over to the defensive line. You add Tyree Wilson. Great get. You add a John Jenkins, who's a backup defensive tackle. You add a Byron Young, who's a very good tackle. Very good tackle. I mean, they've added some other guys at the defensive tackle position. Don't forget Nesta Jade Silvera, the other rookie. But they've also added, another free agent in there. Then you go and you look at all the free agents they've added, corners, and they added Jacorian Bennett. Then you go to safety. You look at all the safeties that they've added, and Chris Smith, another good one who has a chance to be super good. Then you go to linebacker. Okay, Robert Spillane over Denzel Perryman. If Denzel Perryman was going to be healthy 17 games, you go Denzel, but he's proven he can't stay healthy. So Robert Spillane is a guy who never gets hurt. Upgrade. Okay, then you go out and they've done some other things at linebacker. Do I think right now today they are better as a team? Absolutely. I don't know where people can say they're not. Oh, don't forget Brandon Faison is a guy that they brought in. Jaquan Johnson's a guy that they brought in. I think Nate Hobbs has to be moved back to the center. But again, yeah, I do think they're a better team, and thank you for asking. The next one, and this one's going to be a little controversial, I know it, but I'm not going to run from it. I got so many people asking me about it. And let me just say, in the interest of full disclosure, I have friends on both sides of the argument I'm about to give you. So I know I'm going to have friends that are going to totally disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. But the question comes in, this comes from Pete. Pete says, Hondo, what do you think about Aidan McConnell having Derek Carr's number 4 jersey? I think it's disrespectful, and it proves yet again how Josh McDaniels shouldn't be here and doesn't get us. That's from Pete. Okay, I'm going to weigh in, and I want to say this. I have a great relationship with Derek Carr. And I think if you ask Derek Carr, hey, do you have a good relationship with Hondo Carpenter? He'd say, absolutely, I do. But Derek Carr's not here anymore. And Derek Carr is the leading statistical quarterback in most of the areas for the Raiders. He had a great career in a Raider. Now, a lot of people are going to now come after me. How dare you call Derek Carr's career great? Okay, he made a ton of money and has all the statistical records. Sorry. Now, you may say, well, you can only judge great by Super Bowl wins. Okay, that's fair too then. So he had a really good career. Did he win as much as he wanted to? No. Did he win as much as the fans wanted him to? No. But the point of the matter is the Raiders don't retire jerseys, and he's not here. So is it disrespectful to give a new quarterback who wants the number 4 the number 4? No. He's not here. Let it go. He's not part of your organization anymore. Once a Raider, always a Raider. And Derek Carr always will be. And I predict when his career is over, he'll be back doing stuff with the Raiders. He didn't leave here hating them. And he didn't leave here with them hating him. That said, I don't think it's anything. I think it's people making a huge deal. I saw people on one side, yay for Aidan, putting a nail in the Derek Carr coffin. Then I saw other people, total disrespect by Aidan O'Connell. Then I saw other people, total Josh McDaniels move. What a blankety blank. Then I saw other people, great move by Josh to move the nation forward. I'm going to say something to y'all. And I have a ton of respect for the Raiders. I want the Raiders to do well. But I didn't grow up a Raider fan. Now, my son, Raider fan. My wife, Raider fan. I cover this team, and I'm friends with a lot of people in the organization. I want them to do well. But I'm not out here rooting for the Raiders, although I want them to do well because it's beneficial. But I don't hate them. And I got a lot of friends in the building, so I like them. But y'all on both sides need to let this go. Derek Carr is no longer here. What is that? There's that song. I hate it too, but it's some movie. It's like a Snow White wannabe movie, and it's let it go about, I don't know, some girl that likes to live in the cold. But man, let it go. He's not here. Move on. Move on. Just, I don't think it was disrespect. I don't think it was meant to close the door. I don't think either side had an agenda. It's a number. And that's the number he wanted. It's the number he got. All right, everybody. I sure enjoy these talks with you. I enjoy these question and answers. Thank you for being part. Thanks for email. Remember, if you want to send me an email that you'd like to be in the article, it's Spartan Nation Mail, SpartanNationMail @yahoo.com. Please just put in the subject line, Raiders Q&A. Till we see you all again. Remember, this is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation. Raiders Today, the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.